you you gotta look at society like this. Okay, so right now everything's about theatrics. Everything's about pomp and circumstance, right? You got people like Stephen A. Smith walking around now. He wants to be the big bad guy. He wants to huff and puff, and he wants to cuss and show that he can be erratic and show that he can be ignorant, or that he can take it there, or that he can throw around profane language and I'm gonna do this because you ain't gonna do mother. That's not how men talk. That's not how men settle issues. So when I see men like that and they're talking through another man, like channels publicly, and they going through, I don't do stuff like that. If I got an issue with a man, I got an issue with him, I'll find him. I'll reach out to him. When you got that kind of power, trust me, you can reach people. When you have when you reach that level of society, trust me, you can reach people. I have issues with people on social media. A lot of times, I reach out to them directly. Inbox, say, hey man, like, what's good? Let's talk. Let's get to the bottom of it. This ain't got to play out in public. We grown men. But I'm gonna talk to you respectfully. All I ask is say, hey, respect me as a man. If they say something disrespectful, I'm gonna say, you know what? All right, we good. We cool. You feel how you feel? That's it. I don't feel the need to huff and puff and you called me this, you called me that. You know what you did. So, hey, if I see you and it just so happens to go that way, then it goes that way. But I'm not going to do all this back and forth banter and theatrics playing it out for social media. I think that's a bad look. I feel like me and any man should be able to sit down and have a conversation, and we might eventually come to the agreement that we disagree, or that, ideologically we're different. That's fine. People have a right to their opinions. People have a right to feel how they feel about me, about anything else. So, if that's how you feel, okay. If I know I'm not that, okay. Now, the only thing I feel like I would have to address to the public is if you publicly accuse me of things. And at that point, I'm going to say, well, prove it. If you can't prove it, then there's no need in talking about it, whether I did it or not. If you can't prove it, there's no need to talk about it. I don't talk about things that I can't prove when it comes to people. If I say somebody did something or said something, I have proof. If they did something or said it and I don't have proof, I ease back. Or I'll let you know, like, this is something personal between us, so I don't have any proof, but this is what happened on my end. But more than likely, if it's just something personal between us, I'm not going to take it public. It's just between us. You know what it is. I know what it was. You don't speak on me. I don't speak on you. That's how we're going to move. But all of this, I'm going to go on this show and I'm going to talk to this guy and I'm going to call this guy out and I'm a huffing and I'm the big bad wolf and I got the big draws and I'm stomping and men don't move like that. The real men don't move like that. When I have issues and, I was well known in my job for maintaining my composure. I had guys get in my face, threatening to fight me, call me all kind of names. And I look at them, I said, okay, if that's how you feel. That's how you feel. Don't make me know. The only thing that matters is in my presence. If you try to touch me, then we have a problem. All that jarring, that's peacock stuff. You're a male peacock. You want to throw your feathers and strut and dance so everybody can see that you fancy and you pretty. Maybe that's your kind of mating call. You want the women to look at you like, oh, look at this guy. I don't care nothing about that stuff. Just being honest. But a lot of times when you see people in public that feel and say certain things on the internet, they have a completely different energy. When guys will say certain things to me at work and they know that I'm at work, so I'm not going to respond a certain way. They want to trigger me, but I won't allow it. When they see me outside of work, I've seen them see me and turn around and go the other way. I've walked into a gym with somebody one time and within 2 minutes they were gone. So that's how you know what that is. But as men, we have to be able to sit down and have reasonable conversations without allowing ourselves to diverge or indulge in ignorance, especially when the whole world is watching. What does that do? What does that really do? You think it makes you look good, but it doesn't make you look good. It makes you look like a weak man. When you sitting there fussing and screaming and telling somebody this and they said this and they said that, it don't matter. Him, Jason Whitlock, whatever else, you look at Jason Whitlock, Cam Newton, they had their differences. They had opinions about one another. They sat down and talked like two grown men. Hey, let's have a constructive conversation. That's it. That's real. You got to have emotional intelligence, conflict resolution skills. Even, you said some stuff I don't like. I said some stuff you don't like. Water under the bridge. We got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger fish to fry. Let's work on that. But until we learn how to do that, we're not gonna get anywhere. When you have men that are supposed to be the leaders, that are at the top, acting like that. That's why a lot of times, no matter how I feel about another man, I don't really divulge myself into name calling. I might say what I say, and I know that some things I say will be offensive, not because I want them to be offensive, but because people will be offended by the fact that I said it or the way it triggers them. But I try to dance around calling men names, B words, you name it. I'm going to call you your name. That's what your mom named you or whatever you prefer to be called. I'm going to call you that. I don't have to try to insult you. I don't have to go out my way to insult you. I don't think that's how a grown man moves. But if that's what you want to be, fine. But just don't expect me to respect you as a man. Don't expect me to respect you as a man. I can't do that. And I wouldn't even let a man sit in my presence and berate or talk down about another man like that. I say, hey, you can say what you say. You got a right to feel how you feel, but check yourself. We don't do that here. It's all respect. It's all love, because the bigger picture is that we are brothers. At least that's what we're supposed to believe. And we all in this fight together. Your skill set is not my skill set. I have to understand that. You send a squad on a mission. You don't send all medics and all snipers. You have different people that play different positions. You create a starting five on the lineup. You're not going to have 5 Shaquille O'Neals. You're going to have this person and that person. You need 2 centers. Okay, you don't need 2 Shaqs. You need 1 Shaq, 1 Wilt. 1 Wilt, 1 Kareem. 1 Kareem, 1 Hakeem. You don't need 2 Shaqs. You got to be versatile. Just like NFL, running backs. You got 2 running backs, what they call the thunder and lightning. You got your big bruising back, then you got your speed back, your elusive back, and they work in a tandem. Different wide receivers, different skill sets. That's your deep threat. That's your slot receiver. He can go over the middle. This is your big guy. That's your red zone threat. That's your blocker right there. More like a tight end hybrid. Same position, different skill sets. And that's how we have to look at one another. We're on the same team, different skill sets. We got to learn how to use those to our advantage and stop nitpicking because this is me and that's you. That's why we're not getting anywhere, because the team is fighting each other. You name me one army throughout the history of civilization that ever won a battle while the soldiers were hell-bent on fighting and destroying one another. Show me who conquered territory like that.